Let's begin. Rain hammered the windshield like fate knocking on the door of a man already too far gone to save. Adam Whitaker adjusted his rearview mirror, not because he needed to, but because he couldn't stare at the hotel in trance any longer. He'd parked across the street from the Garnet Suites for 36 minutes, watching shadows flit behind thick curtains on the 5th floor, Suite 512. A room he didn't book. A room his wife didn't know he knew about. He used to believe in second chances. That belief died 3 weeks ago when his fingertips, trembling and reluctant, unlocked Kira's phone while she showered. The first thing he saw was a heart emoji. The second was a message. Same room tomorrow, baby. I miss how you taste. He hadn't read further. He didn't need to. Kira Langston, his wife of 4 years, the woman who once danced barefoot in their kitchen whispering about forever, had been sleeping with someone else for nearly a year. And she had done it while pretending to build a family, offering smiles soaked in rot. But tonight wasn't about discovery. It was about watching it burn. He stepped out of the car, just as the rain paused like the universe itself was holding its breath. Inside the hotel lobby, the concierge looked up. Adam offered a nod and passed without words. His fingers were numb, not from the cold, but from restraint. He took the elevator to the 5th floor, heart thudding like a drum inside a coffin. A cleaning cart stood abandoned in the hallway, half blocking the light that spilled from beneath the door of Suite 512. He didn't knock. He didn't have to. The moment the door opened, her laughter sliced into him like broken glass. She was wrapped in a silk robe, her wet hair clinging to her neck. The man behind her, taller, leaner, hair tousled from passion, held a glass of wine and the same smirk Adam remembered seeing on his own face on their honeymoon. "Kira," Adam said softly, his voice a scalpel in velvet. "Didn't know you liked Cabernet." The wine glass dropped. The silence screamed, and the man, Dean Madden, stared like he'd seen a ghost. "You're supposed to be in Berlin," Kira stammered. "You said." "I lied," Adam replied, stepping forward, brushing past her trembling form like a breeze turned storm. "Something you're very familiar with." Dean tried to speak. Adam raised a single finger. "Don't." He turned back to Kira, the woman he once imagined raising daughters with. "I gave you everything," he whispered. "You gave me nothing but shadows." Kira's eyes welled with tears. "Adam, it wasn't." "Oh, it was," he snapped, the fury finally cracking through the calm. "And now you're going to learn what it means when the man you betrayed chooses not to scream, but to dismantle your life piece by piece." He left before she could cry again. Her tears no longer moved him. The elevator ride down was silent except for the quiet ding at every floor. But something inside Adam had begun to wake, a storm beneath skin and bone. He had planned this for weeks. Tonight wasn't the end. It was the first ripple in a tidal wave of revenge. 3 years earlier, they met designing high-rises. Kira was a project liaison with fierce intelligence and a calm voice that soothed furious meetings like a balm. Adam was lead structural engineer, precise, intense, the type who measure emotions like blueprints. But she got under his skin. When she laughed, the whole room softened. He thought she saw him. Not the paycheck, not the degrees. Him. They married fast. Bought a home in Eastgate Ridge. She left work 6 months later, saying she wanted to focus on building their family. Adam supported her, paid the bills, took extra shifts. She decorated their home with warm colors, whispered dreams of a baby boy, named their future dog Bentley. She played the part well, too well. And now, standing beneath streetlights that flickered like dying hope, Adam realized the part was all it ever was. She'd rehearsed love like a monologue, and he'd clapped from the front row, blind to the poison beneath the applause. Back in his apartment, now a sterile rental overlooking the city he no longer trusted, Adam reviewed the files. Landon Strauss, his private investigator, had delivered everything. Photos of Kira and Dean kissing near the lake house Adam had built with his own hands. Expense log showing she used Adam's card to pay for a spa getaway, for both of them. Screenshots from burner phones. Voice memos accidentally recorded by the car's Bluetooth system. Adam hadn't cried. He hadn't raged. He'd gone to work. Because this was no longer about heartbreak. It was war. Dean Madden, 38. Single father of 2. Works as a VP at a failing cybersecurity firm. Lives in Hollow Creek. And worst of all, He used to be Adam's college roommate. Giih didn't just cheat. She did it with a man who once borrowed Adam's tux for his own wedding. Their affair began at a reunion barbecue. Adam was out of town presenting a keynote in Chicago. Giih stayed behind, citing migraines. She never had migraines, only misdirection. Phase 1 was already in motion. Adam had moved every asset, stocks, bonds, property deeds, into a trust under his sister's name. Phase 2. Exposed Dean, but not with rage. With precision. Dean's company had secrets, ones Adam's forensic contact was already digging into. Phase 3. Giih. He wasn't going to scream. He was going to make her beg to be unheard. Giih didn't know Adam was 3 steps ahead. She believed her tear-streaked cheeks and trembling apologies still carried weight. She didn't understand that when you break a man who builds for a living, he rebuilds. Stronger. Sharper. This time, he wasn't building a future. He was building her downfall. And Dean's too. Adam studied people now the way he used to study blueprints, searching for cracks, for quiet signs of collapse. He remembered the first time he sensed Giih pulling away. Her phone habits changed. No more leaving it on the kitchen counter. No more using his phone to Google recipes. Her laughter stopped sounding like warmth and started sounding rehearsed. She would pull away when he kissed her, only to initiate affection when she wanted something. Dinner reservations, a new coat, another trip to see her cousin. He remembered how she said she was so heartbroken about the 3rd failed pregnancy test. That lie stung worst of all. He'd held her as she cried into his shoulder, whispering about timing and God's will. But the truth? There was no attempt. She'd been on birth control the whole time. He found the prescription buried in the glove box. It was cruel, intentional, calculated. 1 week after the hotel confrontation, Adam sat across from a quiet woman with sharp eyes and no wedding ring. "Your wife's affair isn't the story," said Amelia Knox, senior journalist at Modern Integrity, a publication known for investigative pieces on corporate corruption. "It's how Mr. Madden's company is laundering encrypted crypto payments. You sure you want to go public?" "I don't," Adam replied, sliding a folder across the table. "I want him to go under. I just need you to point the flashlight." Inside the folder were months of digital traces, encrypted server logs, money transfers between dummy shell accounts, data scraped by a white hat hacker who owed Adam a favor. Amelia glanced through it, whistling under her breath. "If I run this story, you'll never hear from him again." Adam didn't blink. Good. At the Langston family home, things weren't much better. Giih had been disowned quietly, not with shouting or slamming doors, but with silence. Her mother stopped answering her calls. Her father, once proud and vocal about her elegant life, had handed her a check for $1,500 and asked her to leave until the heat cools down. What heat? The entire neighborhood knew. Camille Madden, the betrayed wife, had posted a detailed public statement. It had gone viral. She didn't name names, but people put 2 and 2 together fast when a follow-up image was posted, a photo of Giih in Dean's lap, time-stamped and captioned "Loyalty." Some don't know what it looks like. Her friends dropped her. Her employer, the same architecture firm Adam had once led her to through connections, revoked their offer to take her back. She was radioactive. But Giih? She wasn't just desperate. She was angry. That twisted, insecure kind of angry where you think you're the victim for losing everything you stole. 3 days later, Dean's world began to collapse. First came the email from HR. Due to an ongoing internal investigation, you were placed on immediate unpaid leave. Then the phone call from his lawyer. The press is asking about an article coming out Monday. Something about money laundering. And finally, a thick envelope delivered to his office. Inside were copies of every hotel receipt, burner message, and photo involving Giih. The sender? No name. Just 2 words printed on the final page. Adam knows. Dean's breath hitched. His pulse throbbed in his ears. He called Giih. She didn't answer. He called again. Still nothing. By midnight, Dean was packing a go bag and wiping his devices clean. He didn't realize how far Adam had gone. He hadn't just exposed Dean to the media. He'd reported Dean to the IRS. Giih sat alone in a rented studio apartment, eating cold takeout from a cracked container. She hadn't seen Adam in 2 weeks. Every time she called, the line rang until it clicked into silence. She tried texting once more. "Giih, please, just tell me what to do." You were always the strong one. Just say something. The screen stayed cold. She dropped the phone and curled into herself, sobbing uncontrollably. But Adam wasn't watching anymore. He was too busy living. Adam moved into a smaller place, but it felt like breathing fresh air. The walls weren't tainted by deceit. He began volunteering with a youth architecture program on weekends, mentoring kids who reminded him of his younger self. Eager, honest, hungry. He cut ties with old friends who had remained loyal to Kira because they didn't want to get involved. He found comfort in solitude, but not loneliness. He cooked for himself, worked out daily, and, finally, slept without waking from phantom dreams of betrayal. For once, he wasn't building someone else's vision. He was building his own life. Late one night, an email landed in Adam's inbox. Subject: I saw you at the bookstore. You looked happy. I guess that's good. I don't know who she is, the barista girl you were talking to, but I hope she's real. I hope she doesn't destroy you like I did. Dean's gone. Left the state. Blocked me. My parents won't even return my calls. You don't have to reply. Just know I wish I could go back and start over. Adam stared at the screen for a full 10 minutes. Then he clicked archive. She didn't deserve a reply, because the next stage of revenge wasn't about destroying her anymore. It was about erasing her from the man she thought she broke. Adam didn't reply to Kira's email because silence was louder than hate. But she didn't stop. 3 days later, a handwritten letter showed up at the front desk of the community college where Adam now taught night classes. The receptionist, curious, handed it to him with a knowing look. He opened it slowly in the break room. I remember the first night we danced. You held me like I was fragile. I remember how you stayed up with me when I thought I had a miscarriage. I remember you whispering that we'd be okay. That love would fix it. Adam, I ruined everything. You didn't deserve it. I was lonely, and Dean gave me attention, and I thought that meant something. But it didn't. He ran the moment his wife left him. His kids won't talk to him. I have no job. I have no one. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that you were the only person who ever truly loved me. She signed it. Always yours, Kira. Adam folded the letter and slid it into the trash. Then he pulled out his phone and texted Camille Dorian. Adam, ready. Camille, let's light the match. Camille hadn't stopped with a viral social media post. She had gone full nuclear. Using evidence Adam provided, she'd compiled a full blog series titled Loyalty and Lies, a wife's journey from betrayal to rebirth, under an anonymous pen name. She shared screenshots, receipts, voice messages, and Adam's personal account of how Kira uses money to cheat. The blog gained traction in online communities discussing emotional abuse, financial betrayal, and narcissism. Within a week, national media picked it up. And then came the podcast interview. Camille spoke with grace, dignity, but she didn't hold back. They called it an affair. But it wasn't just infidelity. It was theft. It was deception. It was the kind of betrayal that doesn't leave bruises, but kills your belief in love itself. Adam wasn't mentioned by name, but those who knew him knew. Dean was fired. No fanfare. No press release. His company quietly replaced him, citing ethical violations. The IRS audit had begun, and Camille's legal team was now suing for child abandonment, emotional damages, and retroactive financial misconduct. Dean tried to file a gag order. It was denied. His face appeared in online exposés alongside damning quotes. He used hotel loyalty points like weapons. He joked about bringing his mistress to the company retreat. Adam read every article, smiling, because this wasn't about humiliation. It was about justice wrapped in calm, surgical precision. Kira had moved into a small rental behind a laundromat. The mattress on her floor was secondhand. She worked part-time at a call center, barely making rent. Her former friends ignored her at brunch. One of them even crossed the street when they saw her outside the market. But worst of all, every man she tried to date Googled her. They all found the blog, even when she used a different name. That blog had become a permanent monument to her betrayal, a digital tattoo that never faded. She tried emailing Camille to ask her to take it down. Camille never responded. And Adam? He was too busy planting seeds of his new life. Emma, the barista, was gentle with her laughter and firm with her beliefs. She was nothing like Kira. She wasn't interested in status, credentials, or Instagram-worthy brunches. She loved crossword puzzles. She rescued cats. She brought Adam a lavender scone one Thursday morning and whispered, "You looked tired yesterday. Eat." That's when he realized he hadn't been kissed without conditions in years. Not since Kira. They weren't dating. Not yet. But the silence between them didn't feel cold. It felt safe. It felt honest. And that scared him more than betrayal ever could. Adam met with his attorney, Sophia Marin, one last time. "We've prepared the defamation counterclaim. It's airtight," she said. "She hasn't said anything publicly," Adam replied. "Yet." Sophia nodded. "But if she ever tries to spin it, you have full legal leverage." Adam smiled, but didn't reach his eyes. "I don't want a lawsuit." "You don't." Sophia raised an eyebrow. "No," Adam said. "I want to erase her. Not just legally, socially, financially. I want her name to rot in the mouths of the people who once praised her." Sophia leaned forward. "Then we're done. You've won." Adam shook his head. "No, I haven't won until she realizes she never mattered." That night, Kira stood outside Adam's apartment again. Same trembling hand. Same pathetic knock. He didn't open the door. So she sat down in the hallway and cried. For hours. No one came. No neighbors comforted her. No doorman offered tissues. No man came running to scoop her up and whisper forgiveness. Just like that, she became a ghost. Forgotten by the very man she once tried to destroy. And that, more than public shaming or legal losses or media disgrace, was the purest revenge. She was nothing to the one man who once saw her as everything. 3 months had passed since Adam had last seen Kira face to face, but her presence still lingered in places he didn't expect. A scent in a bookstore aisle, a phrase she used to say echoing in a stranger's voice, a glance in the mirror when he wondered how he ever let her that close. She still tried to reach him. The emails didn't stop, though they came less frequently now. Each was a variation of the same tired theme. Guilt, then nostalgia, then bitterness. But Adam never replied. Her desperation was no longer his burden. He had removed the weight, brick by brick. One evening after class, Emma surprised him by waiting outside. She held 2 coffees and that gentle, understanding look in her eyes that never felt intrusive. She asked if he'd like to take a walk, and he agreed before he even realized he had. They wandered through the city, like people who weren't trying to impress each other. There was laughter. It didn't feel forced. For the first time in years, he didn't feel watched or judged or worn down by pretending. He liked her. But more than that, he liked who he was when he was with her. That night, as they said goodbye, Emma looked at him and asked softly, "Is there someone still holding part of you hostage?" Adam stared at her for a long moment, then shook his head. "There was," he said, "but not anymore." But peace never arrives unchallenged. 2 days later, he received a letter from a law firm representing Kira. She was threatening to sue for defamation, claiming the blog Camille posted had irreparably harmed her professional and social reputation. Adam stared at the letter for 10 full minutes, then let out a dry laugh. He knew this move wasn't about money or justice. It was about control, her last pathetic attempt to stir him. He forwarded the letter to Sophia. Within hours, she filed a formal counterclaim, attaching not just the receipts and images again, but sworn affidavits from Camille and even Talia, the friend Kira once used as an alibi. It was over before it began. The law firm withdrew within the week. And still, Adam didn't reach out. He didn't need to. That silence, that deliberate refusal to see her, to acknowledge her, was louder than 1,000 shouted arguments. It left her suspended in the wreckage of her own choices, screaming into a void that no longer had ears for her. But Adam had more to do. He scheduled a visit to the nursing home where Kira's estranged grandmother still lived, a woman she hadn't seen in nearly 6 years. He brought her flowers and a photo album, one that Kira had left behind during the move. The woman smiled and thanked him, clearly remembering Adam more fondly than she did her own blood. As he left, the old woman whispered, "You always had more heart than she knew what to do with." On the drive home, he didn't feel righteous. He felt free. One final message from Kira came that night. It simply read, "You win." Adam deleted it without reading the rest. Because winning wasn't the point anymore. Living well was. And she would never know what that felt like again. 6 months later, Adam sat by the window of a small coffee shop in a part of town he used to avoid. It wasn't glamorous. Chipped tables, noisy students, a barista who played jazz that clashed with the weather outside. but something about it felt human, real. Emma slid into the seat across from him, grinning as she placed a muffin between them. She wasn't polished or dramatic. She didn't try to fix him or probe his wounds. She just sat with him. That, he'd learned, was what healing really looked like. Not the big declarations, but the quiet moments that didn't ache. He hadn't heard from Kira in weeks. Her social media was gone. Mutual friends, even the nosy ones, had gone quiet. Word was she'd moved to another state, changed her name, trying to start over somewhere no one knew her face. But reputations were hard to outrun in the age of screenshots. He doubted she'd escape what she'd built. He didn't wish her pain. Not anymore. She had destroyed herself far more effectively than he ever could have. Dean. He was still under investigation. Camille had won full custody, started her own wellness brand, and was becoming a voice for betrayed women. She sent Adam a postcard once. It just said, "Free looks good on both of us." He kept it taped to the fridge. Adam never told Emma everything. Not all the details. But one evening, months into knowing her, he admitted softly, "I used to think revenge would make me feel powerful. But it didn't. It just gave me peace." Emma smiled, not asking for more. She just took his hand. And that, he thought, was the difference. Kira had taken everything sacred and made it transactional. Emma didn't want pieces of him. She just wanted to be there when he exhaled. So he did, long and deep. And in that breath, he let go of the last thread tied to a woman who thought love was something to use. She would always be haunted by the damage she caused. But Adam, he was finally free.